Hello, and welcome to this next episode in my Flix tutorial blog. In this episode we want to get some maps up and running. I think I might have to break this up into a few parts because there's actually quite a bit to cover. So let's get started. Just real quick, you may notice that this is running a bit smoother and quicker than it has in previous episodes, and that is because, well, one, I've changed the numbers a little bit, but also you may notice that we are not using the Flash player. So this is a Windows native executable right here, which is one of the plus sides of using HaxeFlixel, is that you can essentially build for just about anything, so keep that in mind. So let's get started on this episode. So we probably won't be doing much coding today, but there's a little bit about the setup of the project that we're going to talk about. So first thing we need to make our tile-based background is some tiles. I use GIMP, but you can use whatever program you want. This is just a really simple kind of block of tiles used to make a tile-based game. So you could just, if you want, have a 3x3 just for simplicity's sake, but in this case I decided to go a little bit wider so that I'd have a bit more variation. And actually this isn't perfect because some of the lines don't match up, like this one goes diagonal, so if I match this bottom piece to the top piece, there's a little bit of a gap in this outline. But yeah, this is basically all you need to make some tiles. Although one thing to note is, like our character sprite sheet, it numbers the tiles from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. But this first tile here must be, well, it doesn't have to be blank, but it will be blank. Because I think the way Ogmo works is this ID, tile ID, is what's used for an empty tile, so you should just leave that blank. So that's why it's shifted over one tile on the side. Hopefully you can see my grid here. And these are 16 by 16 tiles, so it kind of matches our character. So let's put this in our project, our Flash developed project. So if I navigate to assets and then under images, I'll just save a PNG here called tiles, and I'll export it, and that's all okay. And then when we, just to double check, when we come back into Flash Develop, there's the tiles right there. Also, if you're not feeling very artistically inclined, there is a website, I think opengameart.org, where you can get lots of really nice art for free. And I think as long as, I don't know if you can use this in a paid product, but I think you just have to ask the artist and maybe they'll tell you what they want. But yes, try opengameart.org if you feel you can't make graphics very well. So let's get started with Aga Editor. That's my preferred tile editing software. There are a lot of, well, not a lot, but there are a couple of tutorials out there that tell you how to use Aga, the basics and whatnot. I won't go too detailed into the basics, but I'll give you sort of the changes that we'll have to do. I highly recommend this website, games, so kittylambda.com. They have, or he, Calvin Frinch, has a really great Ogmo tutorial. If you scroll down a little bit, he has under miscellaneous Ogmo tutorials, and in here he has his tutorials that he put up on YouTube, and they're and not only are they educational, they're also pretty funny. He has a very interesting sense of humor, so I don't know. Watch these. They're fun and educational. So yeah, give them a try. And so watch those if you need, and they'll give you the basics, and then come back to this, and I will go over some of the slight differences that we'll have to do to make this work for HaxeFlixel. So yeah, so let's get started. So first thing, Aga Editor works with project files. So we'll make a new project, and if we want to keep it with our Flash Develop project, we should be sure to do, whoops, not here, 2014. We should be sure not to put our project file inside of assets, because assets is for things that will actually be packaged in the game. So if we put our work files inside there, it'll be put inside the game when it compiles. So what I like to do is outside of this folder, kind of in the same level as the source code and export and assets folder, is put I usually call it just a work files folder. So things that I want associated with this project, but not packaged in with the game. So let's just call this, I'll just put HaxeFlixel. Can I type? I can't type. Flixel map, something like that. Okay, so now we'll get this new project window, and we can change it. We'll just call this, I'll just call it the same title again, HaxeFlixel map. And we can choose a background color, a grid color, and all that. But let's change some of these. So one thing about the level size in Ogmo is that it works with pixels, so not tiles, so be careful of that. So I think I'm going to work with a level size, this is just our defaults for when we make new levels, but I think my default will be 1024 wide, and let's just make it 512 tall. And the maximum, minimum and maximum we don't really need to worry about, but I think if you're making multiple levels, maybe those settings will be really useful for you. So I think I'll just change the maximum to 1024 by 1024, because it'll actually stop you from making a map bigger than that, just so that you don't trip yourself up. Next we'll go into layers. So if you saw my other video where I showed the little platformer game, and it had a background layer that moved a little bit slower due to parallax, and then the midground that the character interacted with, and the foreground that moved a bit faster due to parallax. That's where you'll do that here. You'll create a layer for each of those. But for now, we're just going to work with one layer, and we'll just call this the ground layer. That's what our character will collide with. And we're going to have 16 by 16 pixels. Scroll factor will actually be, maybe there's a way to have this automatically be put into our code, but for now we'll just leave it at 1, and maybe I'll get back to you. I think there is a way to have this move just directly be brought in. But if you watch the Kitty Lambda tutorial, he uses grid, but for HaxeFlixel we're going to just use tiles, and we'll leave the export mode as CSV, which is comma separated values, something like that. So yeah. Next are tile sets. So let's create a new tile set, and this will be our, I'll just call this ground tiles. And then we're going to import the image that we put in earlier, and that's inside of our assets folder, inside images and tiles. And there it is. And as you remember, we were working 16 by 16, and that's all there is to it. So let's apply that, and Aga Editor will give us this new window. I'll maximize it here. And here's our map. And it's empty right now, so all we see is the blue. So let's put down some tiles. So we have a few options here. We can use this pencil tool and sort of plop down each tile, and you can mix it up if you want. But there's actually a very quick way to do this. What I usually do is use this rectangle tool, and then if you click and drag down here, you can easily place what you selected over here. And if you do it multiple times, it'll just repeat it like that. But for this edge, we just needed the one, so we'll do that. So let's put the other side here, and then for the middle part, we'll just select it and then fill it up like that. And there we go. We have our ground. And we can put in little obstacles and stuff. I didn't really measure how high the character jumps, so and with this you can, like, here's what I was saying earlier, they don't quite match up. So be sure to have it either go straight or come back out whenever you want to, do a tile like that. So let's just put a little obstacle here, and maybe a slightly taller one here, and so that they can get out on the other side, we'll put another piece here. Not very exciting map, but it will do. So once we're done designing our once we are done designing our map, that's what these are called, we want to save our level file. So up here at level, you're going to click Save Level, and then this level file we want to be packaged in with our game, so we'll put it in their assets and data. And I'll call this, let's say, we'll call it level 1. Like that. And hit save. And our level is saved. So let's jump into, actually, I was planning on stopping here, but we're at 15 minutes, so maybe let's try and get this showing inside of the game. So let's do a little bit of coding. So we'll come back to Flash Develop, and we have our level here and our images here. So let's take a quick look at this level file. If you double click it in Flash Develop, this is what you'll see. A bunch of numbers, -1s, 2s, 16s, and all that. So each of the tiles gets a number, and this is simply just the grid of our map, in comma-separated values. And if you're familiar with XML, this should look very familiar, because that's actually all these OEL files are. They're just XML files. So, yeah, let's bring this into our game. So, let's go to our play state, and let's see. Let's take a look at some old code that I made just to remind myself how this works. So recent file. HaxeFlixel has a class called the Ogmo loader. So this object will load in our OEL files, and then we will assign what it loads in to a tile map object, and then from the Flix tile map we will add it into our game. So let's do that real quick. So we'll close that, we don't need to see that. So yeah, let's make our Ogmo loader. So private var, let's call this loader is what was it called? Flix Ogmo loader. Flix Ogmo. I just remembered something very important. So here I am trying to type in Flix Ogmo loader, but it doesn't know what that is. And why not? Because actually the Flix Ogmo loader is an add-on. So what we need to do is load up the add-on for our project. So in Flash Develop, you'll open the project XML. Let's zoom in here. And if you scroll down, you'll see libraries right here. And what we want to do is we want to use the add-ons package. So we're going to highlight the ends of these comments, take them off, and then now it will load up the add-ons that we need. So let's just save the project file, XML, project XML file, and then now when we come back, I think we should be able to use the Flix Ogmo loader. There it is, Flix Ogmo loader. So now we have the Flix Ogmo loader added into it. So next, let's make a private variable for our tile map. So this, we'll call this the mid-ground map, and this will be a Flix tile map. There's an extended one in add-ons, but I haven't used that yet, so I won't talk about it just yet. So we'll just use a Flix tile map like that. So now when we create this scene, let's load up our let's load up our map data. So here's how we do it. So first, the loader needs to become a new loader, and we'll feed it in our map file. So that will be, so loader will equal a new Flix Ogmo loader, and inside there we're going to point it to our level 1 file just by right-clicking generate embed code, and it'll put the file there. And then from here, we need to bring the loader's data into the background map, or into, well, for ours it will be the midground map. So let's put midground map equals loader dot load tile map, right? Load tile map, and then from here we will load in our tile image, our tiles PNG. Oops. Oh yeah, that's right. So load tile map, and then the graphic we want is our tiles PNG. Generate embed code. We had a 16 by 16 tile, and then now it says tile layer. and it defaults to tiles. And actually, maybe we should have done that in Ogmo earlier, but we'll have to change this tile layer. So we'll put a string that is the same name as the layer in Ogmo. So if we open up our level file again, I called the layer ground. So we need to put ground into that. So ground, and I think that's it. Yeah, no other things. So we loaded up our data. We put it into a Flix tile map. So what do we need to do next? That's right, we need to add our tile map. So before we do that, let's get rid of our floor that we had in there before, because we're going to be using a real map now. So floor, we'll just comment this out for now. So where is it? I thought there was a quick way I could do this. Insert, edit. Yeah, block comment. So yeah, there. It just commented out all of that stuff. So we need to add our midground map, and we want our player to be on top of it, so we will do it beforehand. So midground map, like that. So from here, let's test it out. I think everything should be okay. I think one drawback to compiling to Windows is it takes a bit longer, so if I have to test it a lot, maybe I'll cut out the compiling times. Or I'll do that now. Okay. It says it's done. That actually took a lot longer than I expected. I think since I changed a lot of the source code, it had to recompile quite a bit of the executable. So hopefully here in a second it will be popping up. And maybe for these videos I will continue to use the Flash target because it's much quicker, but it doesn't run quite as well, sadly. And I think also it might have taken longer because I'm recording and my computer sucks, so that could also be part of it. So, oh yes. And also, since I'm running it in debug mode, my virus protection doesn't trust it because it's, but yeah. It's cool, man, I wrote the code. Alright, and here it is. Uh-oh. I forgot a major part of this. So, what's happening? It compiled alright, and I think the character is landing on the ground, but why can't we see that? Because we need the camera to follow her around. So I guess good thing I didn't remove this multi-jump just yet. But let's see. What do we need to do to make it follow her? So let me just switch this to Flash real quick. So what do we need to do? So maybe after we add our player, we need to tell the camera inside of FlixG, camera, to follow an object. And which object is that? That will be our player. And I think we can also set a follow style. So I think that's what FlixG, camera, follow. Let's see. I think style will equal, ooh, what is that under? Is that under cameras? Yeah, where is cameras? I think, let's see if we do, what is it? Flix. Let's look at the docs. So, let's see. So, HaxeFlixel docs. Documentation, API, and I believe we go to, let's go Flixel, Flix Camera, there it is. So Flix Camera, we'll do style platformer is a good follow style. And also in the camera, yeah, just to double check, yes, we'll change the style property to tell it which one to do. So we go to style, equals Flix FLX camera, and we're gonna Control-Shift-1 to bring in, to import Flix camera, just to show you. Yeah, Flix camera comes in here, and then where is it? Flix camera, and then we're gonna hit dot, and we'll do style platformer, just like that. So now our camera should follow our player, and I say should because you know how I am. Okay. See. Uh-oh. Now okay, phew, I was worried there for a second. So yeah. So now she falls down, and look, there's the map we made earlier. And that's how you bring in maps in using Aga Editor and HaxeFlixel. So, actually, I thought maybe I would have to split this up, but it looks like it did alright in one video. If you want to use other map editors, I believe the Flix, let's look at the docs again. The Flix tile map, let's see, Flixel tile. Yeah, the Flix tile map can import, let's look at instance methods, where is it? Load map. But this, I think, will take in, I'm not sure what this takes in. Maybe it also takes in an XML. But yeah, you have other options for how to bring in tile map data with HaxeFlixel. Well, I think that's everything. So, yeah. I guess that's it for this video. I guess I surprised myself and ran into very few problems. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. But if there was something confusing or something you thought was definitely missing from this video, I guess, do the commenty thing down below. But yeah, there we go. We have a map. And as oh, I know what we need to do in the next episode. Maybe, let's see. We'll do that in the next episode. So she's starting all the way up in the sky here, but how can we use and also our scores up there. How can we keep it from, keep her, or an easy way to import a starting location for her. Yeah, I'll do that in the next episode. This is just to get basics up and running. Yeah, I'll talk to you later, or make you a video later, or something. Okay, that's all. Bye.